From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's AMN Drive Time, brought to you by Aishin.
AMN Drive Time is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit AishinAftermarket.com for more information.
Roger, welcome to AMN Drive Time, sponsored by our good friends at Aishin.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you having me, and I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about the University of the Aftermarket Foundation.
So, Roger, thanks for that brief intro. As you know, we are talking to you today as in your role as chairman of the new chairman of the University of the Aftermarket Foundation. And the first thing I want to ask is, Roger, UAF has funded millions of dollars in scholarships. What do you see as a new chairman, as its role in the industry, and why does it still remain so darn important?
Well, Bill, that's a good first question, because it gives me an opportunity to kind of give a little background of what UAF is. For guys like you and me, we've kind of have been around long enough to know that UAF's been around actually since the mid-1980s, 1986, I believe. And but we have a lot of young people in our industry, and a lot of people that don't really know where it came from, why it's important, and what it does. So this is a good place to start. UAF was originally founded by AWDA, and it was called AWDA University. And it was founded, I believe it was 1986 or around that time, and maybe a little bit sooner than that. But it was really continuing education for executives at AWDA warehouses and manufacturers who wish to participate. And back in those days, AWDA was held separately from Apex and or the other trade shows, I should say, and the education days took a couple of days and provided just tons of content, and most of the classes were taught by industry executives. And that's where the formation of the AAP and MAAP professional designations came from. That was Automotive Aftermarket Professional and Master Automotive Aftermarket Professional. Those two designations still exist, and we have a robust involvement in those continuing education programs, along with Leadership 2.0. So moving forward, I guess these guys kind of figured, well, we got to find a way to pay for this. And so they started a foundation to raise money to provide both the continuing education part, which was the founding, and then also provide scholarships to really industry kids, children of people that worked in the industry. And then as the donations grew and an endowment was beginning to be developed, we realized that we could start offering scholarships to young people just who might be interested in a career in the aftermarket. So we started, advertising and approaching a number of organizations and guidance counselors and tech schools and what have you. And it's grown today to where the University of the Aftermarket Foundation has a significant endowment. And this year, 2024, we were able to award, both through ourselves and through those to whom we give grants and support and administrative support, a platform for administrative support, roughly 500 scholarships in excess of $900,000. So that's a significant amount of money, and yet we just think we're getting started because the need is so great. But specifically, I guess if I could kind of tell you what our mission statement is, it's to, and I'm not reading it verbatim, but it's to provide scholarships to students studying for technical and professional automotive industry careers. And we do so through a robust scholarship administration program. We have about 100 readers, and I wish we had 200, but these are all volunteers. And these are people that read every scholarship that is submitted. Well, first we kind of cull those that may not qualify to even be included in the competition. But we get we actually read about a third of everything that was submitted. I think this past year we got about 3,000 applications, about 1,000 made the cut. We were able to give actually more than that. There's about 2,000 that made the cut, and we were able to give about half of those away, a little less than half of those away in scholarships. But it's that's the mission: is to give money away to attract quality people into the aftermarket. About 70% are involved in the technical side of the business, either automotive technicians, collision technicians, and heavy duty. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, we support continuing education for our current workforce through AAP, MAAP, Leadership 2.0, and then a new program called Infusion, which is really designed for senior executives, and very similar to what you might find at a Stanford or a University of Chicago executive program. We provide recognition and honor of the people that give us money. We provide a platform to memorialize people who have passed. Our company, N.A. Williams, from which I'm retired now, but we got involved with UAF by creating a memorial fund in honor of our late chairman, Neil L. Williams. I recently did so for my wife who passed away, and created a Marie McCollum Memorial Fund. And as our family has become a lifetime trustee. And then I guess the last thing I'd say is we engage industry members to work together, which I think is terribly important and provides just a collaborative opportunity to recognize one of the greatest needs in our industry, and that is the need for new technicians. I just read that the Bureau of Labor Statistics, if I'm correct, said that we have a need for over 100,000 automotive technicians per year, going into the future indefinitely. And then we specifically need about, I think it's 80,000 electricians. And when I say electricians, I mean these are people that work on electric vehicles and build and assemble power stations throughout the country, so that we can, get our infrastructure grid in place. These are good paying jobs, so a really great opportunity.
Roger, before you became chairman, you were a longtime member of the UAF board. What made you want to take the next step and be chairman, or did you just miss the meeting where they were voting and picking one?
Well, I didn't miss the meeting, but it's when you get asked, you don't say no. Quick story: as I mentioned just a moment ago, we became members of UAF when N.A. Williams committed. When I say members, we're organized as companies, individuals, and those companies are manufacturers and warehouse distributors. Some of the memberships are the Auto Care Association and MEMA, also the program groups. So to be a member, a lifetime trustee, we use the word lifetime because our intention is to have this foundation exist into perpetuity. But to become a lifetime trustee, you have to make a $100,000 donation. So N.A. Williams in 2015 made a $100,000 donation to become a lifetime trustee, and we did so in memory of our past chairman, Neil Williams. I became the representative of N.A. Williams as the trustee. I wasn't the trustee. N.A. Williams was the trustee, but I became the representative. And I held that position for 3 or 4 years. I can't recall which. And a guy that was, Joe Pomeranski, was the secretary on the executive committee. And we have a chairman, an assistant chairman, I guess you'd say, or a second chairman. And then we have a chairman emeritus, which is Rusty Bishop. And now, in addition to Rusty, Bob Egan, since I'm the new chairman, a secretary and a guy that runs finance. And then a person that, the secretary runs the grants committee. So nevertheless, I was in the secretary's role, and then Bob Egan, our chairman, after I think 5 or 6 years on the job, wanted to step down, and I was asked to take his place. So when you get asked like that, you don't say no. Also, I would add that I knew I was about to retire from N.A. Williams, or near so, and I really enjoy the foundation work, and I believe it's an important cause, and I really wanted to stay engaged because I felt it would keep me engaged in the industry, it's just something I care deeply about. So our family became lifetime trustees members on our own. So now I'm chairman, but I'm also representing the McCollum family as lifetime trustees to UAF.
Roger, looking big picture for UAF, how can people who work in the aftermarket help build this amazing program and maybe even help expand its current reach in the future?
Great question. And it is, it's easy. It's an easy answer. We need more funding in order to support more scholarships. We're a foundation. We're no different than, many types of foundations that I'm sure that you're familiar with, and many of your listeners are. Universities, secondary schools, organizations in various cities that provide that provide funding and grants to organizations to, build a gymnasium or a school, or to, do whatever. And where's the money come from? Well, some organizations will just try to raise money every year and then give it all away. Back to the word lifetime as part of UAF, we're trying to raise an endowment that will exist in perpetuity. So we're just like most foundations, we're set up and are required to give away, I believe it's roughly 6% of our corpus each year. And we do so in the forms of scholarships and grants. Now, when I say grants, that's, currently Northwood University advances our continuing education programs that provides the format and much of the content, along with Auto Care Association and MEMA. So we provide some funding to those guys to help them accomplish that, and that's critically important to our mission. But other than that, everything pretty much goes to, I also say we also support scholarship efforts of every automotive wholesaler, state automotive wholesaler associations in the country. So think of CAWA or AAAS, Randall Ward's outfit in the Southeast. And these folks all give scholarships away on their own, and we match those or support those up to a certain amount so that we can make them more meaningful. So they're doing the same thing we're doing, but it's closer to home, and they're going to be able to contact and maybe know more industry friends and help support families that are already in the automotive aftermarket. So back to the question, we need to increase our number of lifetime trustees. We have a lot already, and they're big companies, and the $100,000 level is the minimum level to be a lifetime trustee. We also have a gold lifetime trustee, which I believe is $250,000. And then we have a diamond lifetime trustee, which is $500,000. And we actually just got our first, in the past year or so, emerald level lifetime trustee, which is at $1 million. And that is accumulated over time. So I would say this to manufacturers in our industry that are not participating in UAF. We would encourage you to do so and spend $100,000 and become a lifetime trustee. Now, that's a pledge. You can pay that pledge, typically 8 to even 10 years. So it isn't that much money to affect a company, and we just don't have enough manufacturers. In fact, I don't think that of the I would say probably the top 100 or 150 manufacturers or suppliers in this in the automotive aftermarket. I don't think we have more than about 20 or 25. I didn't get the exact head count, but it's it's a great opportunity. We also have a mission or a goal to double our corpus in the next 5 years, or by 2030, and that should give us an opportunity to give north of $1 million in scholarships in our own right, and probably $2 million once you involve all of the other organizations with whom we provide administration support. Anybody that has any questions about this, as they're listening or driving, and I hope not writing things down, just make a note or write one thing down or memorize this. Just go to uofa-foundation.org, uofa-foundation.org. Everything you need to know is there. How to give, how to participate, who to ask, what our mission is, where the money goes. We're about as transparent as we can possibly be.
Roger, to what degree do you feel the investment in aftermarket education has contributed to a more robust, more skilled workforce for the aftermarket as a whole?
Well, I've touched on a couple of these things already. I guess I would say, first of all, back to who we give scholarships to. Forgetting the numbers for a minute, of the winners that are awarded these scholarships, and these are some cool statistics, 70% are training to be technicians. About half are automotive in an automotive mechanical program. Another 15% diesel and heavy duty, another 8 or 9% collision repair. We give about 10% of our scholarships to kids majoring in a 4-year business program, another 10% majoring in engineering, and interestingly, we determined 2% to cybersecurity, which is, in light of right to repair and all of the things that we're discussing involved in that. That's an important area of study. This is interesting. 83% of the kids that applied, and remember, 70% of them are getting technical degrees, often 2-year, sometimes 4-year, but mostly 2-year tech degrees. 83% have a 3.0 or better high school GPA. We don't have a minimum, but I can tell you that it's hard to even get into to be considered unless it's around a 3.5. I mean, seriously, these kids are good students. 80% are ranked in the top half of their class. 187 colleges, universities, and community colleges participate in the program. So now the answer of who benefits, well, certainly the students who get scholarships, certainly the industry organizations, manufacturers and WDs and retailers, through the education, through our supportive education, get quality people to come to work for them, both directly and indirectly. Next, employees, customers, colleagues, children, friends of the industry. These kids will all get an opportunity to get a scholarship. And then everybody in the industry benefits. I mean, all of us benefit because we're helping to attract talent, bring quality, fresh, new young people into our industry to replace guys like me that are, running out of runway, I guess. And And we're providing the next generation of industry professionals and ensuring a vibrant aftermarket for the future. That's who benefits. And it's the responsibility of all of us to help support that.
Roger, the University Aftermarket created a coffee club a few years ago. And it was a way for people to donate relatively smaller amounts on a monthly basis. Tell us a little more detail about that and the various tiers and how people can get involved.
Again, go to the website. We'll provide you with a way to join the coffee club. It is a recurring contribution. So you sign up, you give us your credit card number, and we're going to hit you for a certain amount of money each month, every month. The lowest level that you can contribute is $5 a month. And, I'm not a big Starbucks guy, but all of the levels are named after various types of coffee. You have a basic level, a frappuccino level, a latte level, et cetera, et cetera. But essentially, in terms of amounts, it's $5 a month, $10 a month, I believe 20, 40, and all the way up to, I think our largest number was $150 a month. And we recently added a level called the barista level, which is $300 a month or $3,600 a year. And we see that as what we've done with that. Most of those are corporate. We have a handful of individuals who are contributing $300 a month. But it's a way for manufacturers to kind of get a taste of contributing to UAF and making a significant impact. That barista level actually was brought to us as an idea by Todd Hack, who is now runs the coffee club. Previously, it was started by Mike Buzzard, and Mike got the ball rolling and got everything in place, and got an awful lot of young people, particularly the Yang groups, are highly engaged in the coffee club. And it's just a way for the rank and file and everybody in the industry. I mean, literally anybody can give $5 a month, and it adds up. And it also gives us a recurring cash flow that we don't have to go out and hustle people for big donations all the time. It really provides us a good solid cash flow for the foundation. It's a great program, and I would encourage everybody to take part.
The UAF recently introduced the Legacy Club. Tell us about it, and what are our goals for this program for the near and distant future?
It's really in its infancy. We came up with the idea a couple of years ago, and it's really just based on we're copying an idea, I guess, that is used by most foundations and certainly by every educational institution that I've ever come across. And it is to just provide a way for people to make a sizable donation to an organization, to UAF in our instance, that they might not be able to make during their own lifetime. In other words, we're giving the Legacy Club is designed so that individuals can make a significant gift when their time is up, and it can be a set dollar amount that they can decide upon now. It can be a percentage of their estate, maybe 1% or whatever they would like to give. It could be a all or just a portion of a life insurance policy. So there's really no out of pocket now, but again, it provides another building block for the foundation's corpus that we can depend on for the future. A lot of people even make donations, now during their current lifetimes, which aren't part of Legacy Club, but are done so through a donor-advised trust, where they might make a large commitment now for a significant tax savings, and then pay out the funds over several years. A lot of people give gifts of appreciated stock instead of which is a wonderful tax benefit if you have a low cost basis on some securities, and you're looking to give them away. The Legacy Club is not just designed for at the end of time type things, but a lot of people can make gifts from their required minimum distributions from 401k plans and IRAs, which typically hits, well, it was at 70.5, now it's 73. But people that have a lot of money, they have to take money out anyways, and they can avoid paying any tax on that by making a charitable donation from that to UAF or designate the Legacy Club if they wish. But that's the idea, is to allow people to give more money than they might otherwise be able to do so. And there's an awful lot of philanthropic folks in this world, particularly in our industry. I think that the number of participants in the coffee club and in UAF and lifetime trustees shows that we do have a real strain of philanthropy going through the automotive aftermarket that we should be very proud of.
Roger, it's one last question for you, and then we are going to, of course, have the lightning round that we're going to hit you with.
Yes, sir.
Something that came up relatively recently, and it's going to be happening in Vegas, is the celebration of Mort Schwartz's 90th birthday. And we're going to be doing something with him with the foundation. I think if you could make some comments on that for our audience, that would be terrific.
Well, Celebrate Mort is referring to Mort Schwartz. Now, Mort was one of the founders of UAF way back in the 1980s. He is, for those of you that don't know Mort or don't know of Mort, you should. And those of you that do already know and never forget him. He's one of the most dynamic personalities I've ever met. He's a legend in our industry. He's a pillar of our industry. And he is celebrating his 90th birthday this fall and still very much engaged in UAF. His family is, the Schwartz family is a lifetime trustee. His son, Rick Schwartz, who you know, Bill, is the representative to the foundation for the family. Mort's been very engaged in all facets of the foundation. But we asked him what he wanted for his birthday. He says, "I want to have a party at Apex this year," and it's immediately following our Board of Trustees meeting, November 2nd. And it is all of the money that is donated will go directly to UAF. So there are the donations are really set in three ways. The first is that AWDA is our premier. I don't want to use the word sponsor because there's no sponsorship in the sense, but AWDA has made a donation of $50,000, and that's to get the ball rolling. And then we have had several other corporations and maybe one or two individuals as well who have donated $5,000 as a corporate donor. And then I believe we have developed something like 50 or 60 individual donors at $1,000 a piece. And that's what it takes to get in the event is $1,000. Of course, if you can't get out there on Saturday night of the day before AWDA starts, we'll be glad to take your $1,000 anyways and prominently display your name on all of our literature. So, but regardless, it is a way to celebrate one of the greatest people in our industry and also to raise a significant amount of money on behalf of the foundation. So I hope that everyone can take part in that. Again, everything you need to know is on the website to make a donation. And don't be surprised if you get a phone call from sometimes more than one of the trustees. We decided to just think of everybody we knew in the aftermarket, and instead of dividing up names, we're just all going to call everybody. So Bill, you've already got on board because I think you're one of the donors, and we're very happy for that. So thank you so much.
Glad to participate.
Glad to have you.
Roger, before we let you go, it's tradition, as you know, because you have been a guest of Drive Time in the past. I'm going to ask you some quick questions and call the lightning round, and you're going to give me a quick answer. Okay?
Yes, sir.
A fond childhood memory of growing up in Akron, Ohio.
Well, childhood memory. Gosh, that's going back. That's going back a long time. Bill, I grew up in Bath Township, which is kind of a fancy area these days, but it was literally a dirt road in front of my house in 1956, I guess it was. I was a year old when my mom and dad built a little ranch house out in the country. But it was just a great place to grow up as a little kid. I mean, I can remember literally my dad getting his shotgun and shooting a pheasant like right in front of our house, right in our front yard. I mean, and then trying to cook it up for dinner or something. We'd go fishing. There actually were fish in Yellow Creek back in those days, so that was fun. No more, I'm sure. But it was just a fun place to grow up. Kind of in the country, but a lot of fun. Very nice. Kind of Akron, even back then, was kind of a big, small town. In fact, I think the population probably was bigger then than it is now because all of the rubber factories were still going strong. But still, it was nice. And it was, even though we lived out in the sticks, we were 10 miles from downtown, so it wasn't a big deal.
Favorite restaurant in Atlanta?
Oh gosh, great restaurants in Atlanta. I would say Hal's Steakhouse is one of the best. Gosh, where else do I go a lot? One of my other two favorite go-to places are the Blue Ridge Grill, which you might have been to before. Excellent place, been around for 20 years. Bone Steakhouse is fantastic. And then frankly, my new favorite is a little restaurant that's just around the corner from my house called The Chastain. And it's right by Chastain Park, and it's just fantastic. So I recommend all those.
Are you a beach vacation guy or a city vacation guy?
No, beach, not every time beach, but I mean, I live in a great city. I need to get away from it. So that's an easy question.
Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger. Skyway.
I was going to ask you about Skyway or Swenson's, but it'd be too much inside baseball, Roger.
Yeah, I know.
Audio or a traditional print book? Are you gonna read a book or are you gonna listen to a book on audio?
I would always say I'd read a book, and I don't want to say I've got an extensive library, but I've always bought a lot of. I would prefer to buy hardback books, because then you keep them and they look better on the bookshelf. But these days, I sit down to read and I just start to doze off. So what I do a lot of times is I get the audiobook through Audible. Sometimes I listen to them in my car if I'm taking a couple hour drive. But most often I just listen to them on my walk. I try to get about a 2 or 3 mile walk in 4 or 5 days a week, and that's when I listen to books, just walking around the park.
Last question for you. Text or call?
Call. Quick answer. I think I read this someplace, probably in the Wall Street Journal, because I get that one both in print and online. But it was the title of the article was "Don't call me unless you text me first." And I'm starting to see that a lot, where people will say, "Well, all right, can I call you?" And you send them a text and say, "Can I call you?" I just don't do that. I will tell you that I find that I don't leave voice messages if I don't get them right away, because I end up then just hanging up because nobody listens to voice messages anymore. And then I'll send them a text separately. But no, I have no qualms about picking up a phone and calling somebody. And if they're busy, I'll say, tell me when I can call you back. But I just think that personal contact is always best and fosters long-term relationships and friendships and trust, which I think is the basis of friendships.
Roger, great to have you on AMN Drive Time, sponsored by our great friends at Aishin.
Great to be here, Bill. Thank you for inviting me, and thanks for giving me a platform to talk about the University Aftermarket Foundation, an extraordinarily important organization for our industry, and one that we just need to continue to spread the word about.
AMN Drive Time is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit aishinaftermarket.com for more information.